It's may or may not be what you're doing right now. So, we'll talk a little bit about that, hopefully. Um, but I wanted to make sure we gave some space for that. So, Deena, tell me about architecture. Tell me what I need to know. What turned you on to architecture? Why did you go? What was your first thought when you were going after that major?
Well, first of all, I didn't know what it was called.
Okay.
All I know, again, a lot of my stories will circle around our grandmother. I think we were driving one day in Baton Rouge and she loved to watch the news. So at your grandma's house, you watch what grandma watches, right? Because it was a different time.
Yes.
Um, and I think at that time it may have been in the 80s, and then the housing crisis and the increased homeless population. All these things were being talked about on the TV all the time, and so I think we were driving somewhere in Baton Rouge, and I saw these empty warehouses. From time, a time past, and I was like, well, Grandma, if they have all these empty warehouses, do the buildings just sit there forever? And she's like, well, yeah, I guess. I was like, well, if we have a housing crisis and all these empty buildings, why are we not retrofitting them? And that can be a place where homeless people can live and thrive and maybe help to maintain the building. I'm not understanding the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what is that? And she's like, well, I don't know. So when I went home, I got the encyclopedia because that's back in the day when people had Encyclopedia Britannica. And if
That's
you
right.
want to
That's
get
right.
educated, you pull that off the shelf and you get to looking up stuff. So I just started looking up, well, what is this? How can I be a person in the world that can help to solve this problem?
Hmm.
Okay? And so then I found the word architecture and then found out what the definition of it was. I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna be.